there folks, welcome to the channel. I'm glad you can make it. In today's episode, we're going to be making a maple chicken and apple breakfast style sausage. This is a fresh sausage, incredibly easy to make and perfect for the beginners. It also packs a ton of flavor. Let's get into it.
Let's see what we got. We're going to start off with a little pork back fat. If you want to make this a pork-less sausage, you could use chicken skin for the fat. And I got to tell you, I've made it both ways, and both versions come out amazing. Super juicy, very flavorful. So if you can't get chicken skin, pork back fat makes an excellent substitute. We've got some chicken thighs that we're going to throw into this recipe. And remember, there will be a recipe link in the description box below. It's got all the details so that you can make this chicken apple sausage exactly how I make it here in this video. Cut up your chicken into small pieces, small enough that'll fit inside your grinder. This is what it's going to look like when you're finished. So the chicken thighs is a portion of the recipe. We're also going to be using chicken breast meat, and that's going to help with the texture, the body of the sausage. The breast meat that I have here in front of me is already cut up into the perfect size, and it's already pretty much frozen. And so I'm just going to leave it just like that, and we're going to throw all that inside the grinder. But you're going to process the breast meat the exact same way you process the thigh meat. Here's the spice profile for this chicken apple maple sausage. Notice we're making a pretty decent batch today, and we're going to be starting with a little dark brown sugar. You could use light brown sugar, you could use white sugar, whatever you want. We're also going to be adding just a little sage, give it that breakfast sausage element. I am going to add some red pepper flakes, which is optional, and then of course some salt. Those are going to be the forward spices. The rest of the spices are going to be accent spices. So what we have here is ginger, nutmeg, allspice, a little clove, and a touch of black pepper. As far as the liquids go, this is what we're going to be adding. We're going to start off with some maple syrup. Use your favorite brand. And this is also another optional ingredient. If you don't want that flavor, you don't have to add it. And then we're going to add some apple juice. And the recipe will have the exact quantities that we're adding. Now, the only reason I have these two in separate containers is for the purpose of filming. You could put them in the same container like I just did right here. All right, let's set that to the side. And the last three ingredients are going to be eggs. I'm adding some breadcrumbs. This is panko. If you want to use rusk, you could totally use rusk, not a problem. Adding breadcrumbs to this recipe is really going to help out with the texture. And that's one of the things that you have to pay attention to when making a chicken sausage. Otherwise, it can come out a bit on the soft side. So that's why we're adding that. Finally, we're going to be adding some diced onions. And let me show you what we're going to do with the diced onions. We're going to take those along with the brown sugar and then combine them in a skillet. So in a skillet, first go in the onions, a little bit of salt, a little bit of oil. We're going to saute these until they start to take on a little bit of color. I don't want to caramelize them. I just want them basically softened up a little bit. Once we do that, we're going to add the brown sugar and cook that until it starts to simmer. Simmer it for a couple minutes on a medium heat, and then you can take it off the stove. You're done. There we go. Absolutely beautiful. This is what our onion brown sugar mixture looks like. And obviously, this is way too hot to add to your sausage meat. So pop it in the fridge, pop it in the freezer, and during this time, you can get your apples ready. We're going to be using Granny Smith for this recipe. You can kind of use whatever apple you want. I've made this recipe with Gala, Golden Delicious, Red Delicious, Fuji. It doesn't matter. I tend to always come back to Granny Smith because I like that tartness. I like what it does to the recipe. And so we're going to be using Granny Smith. And how do you process the apples? Well, you could dice them up. You could peel them if you want to peel them. I'm not going to do any of that. Not because I'm lazy, but because I've made this recipe so many times. And I found that the best way to incorporate all those beautiful apples is to just grind it. Notice we're using the big boy today to grind all this meat. That's the number 32 grinder from the sausage maker. I'm using a 6mm plate, and I tell you, this Pro Series grinder sure does make a lot of work of it, no doubt about it. Now, if you want to make this a more coarsely ground sausage, let's say a 10 or 12mm plate, you can absolutely do that. I have made this recipe with a more coarse grind, and I tend to prefer the 6mm plate. I've also made it a little bit finer, 4.5mm plate, and that was okay. It was just a little too fine for me. So meat has been ground and looks beautiful. It is still very cold. And we're going to throw everything into a bin that can handle 80 pounds of chicken and apple sausage. Look at that. Granny Smith apples sprinkled throughout this mix. Amazing. Let's add our eggs. And at this point, we're just going to add everything. So we're going to add our eggs, breadcrumbs, our spices. Notice the breadcrumbs and spices have been combined. No problem there. And then, of course, we're going to add the liquids. I've got the apple juice and the maple syrup. And then we're going to come back with the onions and the brown sugar. And there it is. Now all we got to do is mix it up. All right, there we go. That's what I'm talking about. This is what your chicken apple sausage should look like. And I thought we'd mix it by hand for a change of pace. And yeah, my hands are freezing right about now. That sausage meat was trying to pull my gloves off. Let's grab a little handful and see how sticky it is. Turn them up. Turn them up. There we go. That's going to hang there all day. No problem. This is a beautiful, beautiful mixture. And if you want to put this into a casing, totally cool, not a problem. I'm not going to put this into a casing. I'm going to serve this up as patties. So we're going to leave it just like that.
The chicken and apple breakfast sausage, incredibly delicious, very easy sausage to make. We chose to make our spicy and add a little maple flavor, but both of those are completely optional. If you don't want that, you can omit it from the recipe. What I love about a fresh sausage, especially ones that don't go in casing, is that you don't really need a lot of equipment. They're perfect for the beginners. All you technically need is a grinder so that you can grind your own meat and fat. And that's it. We mixed the sausage by hand. And being that this wasn't going into a casing, we took the 80 pounds that we made and portioned them up into 1 pound little bags like this. And so we have 80 little bags like this that are in our freezer. As far as this goes, we're going to cut a couple patties off of this 1 pound block, fry them up, and see how we did. Our chicken and apple sausage is done, and it looks incredible. Beautiful color on that sausage. Check that out. Nice browning on both sides. There we go. When it comes to cooking the chicken and apple sausage, you can just about cook it however you want. If you want to go sous vide, you could do that. We did it in the skillet, brought it to an internal of about 160. If you want to put it in your oven and bake it, you could do that. Or you could throw it on your pit. No matter how you cook it, it should be absolutely amazing. Matter of fact, the pit method might give it like an additional boost of flavor, which would be kind of interesting. Let's just go ahead and give it a bite. Oh, I like that. Those flavors are singing. The maple's coming through nice. The apple actually is making a beautiful presence, and I'm really glad that the apple's coming through as good as it is. You know, that apple and chicken really work well. So the combination of Granny Smith with the apple juice, absolutely perfect. As far as spice goes, I can definitely feel the spice level creeping up on me, and so I wouldn't say it's a spicy sausage, but it's certainly not mild. I would give it something like maybe a 5.5 or a 6. Right now it's starting to balance off right there. And so it's not overwhelming, but depending on your heat tolerance, you know, you might find it to be a little spicy. This particular sausage does tend to favor the sweetness a little bit. And so if you want to tone that back and maybe tip the scales to the savory side, then, you know, reduce the amount of maple syrup, reduce the amount of brown sugar, maybe don't caramelize it with the onions. Just put half the amount in and see how you like that. One more time. So juicy and so flavorful. I love it. Great recipe, easy to make, perfect for the beginner. It's a nice change of pace from the classic all-pork breakfast sausage. I'll put a recipe link for this chicken and apple breakfast sausage in the description box below. Be sure to check it out. If you do make it, let me know in the comment section below what you thought. And if you have any questions about the chicken and apple sausage, you know where they go. Be sure to smash that like button if you enjoyed today's video or got something out of it in any way. And I know we're rounding down season 5 of Celebrate Sausage. We've only got 1 episode left. It's always a sad time. And if you're new here and you're not really quite sure what's going on, we are in the middle of a month full of daily uploads. The show is called Celebrate Sausage. And as I said earlier, we are almost done with the season. But don't worry, because I'm going to put a playlist right here just for you at the very end of this video so that you can go back to the beginning and check out all 31 episodes. I'm not going to ruin the surprise for what we're going to be making tomorrow, so you're going to have to tune in same time, same place. Thanks a lot for joining us. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye. That's so good.